And welcome back to the Power Accountability League. I'm your pal, Dan L. This is my channel, and I am probably related to Cal L. Today's video is entitled Picking a Fight with the Right. From my earliest videos, I made it clear I'm picking a fight with 8 billion Homo sapiens. Why? Why am I so upset with 8 billion naked monkeys? Well, because we're a failure. We're a failed evolutionary experiment, and we've got all the ingredients to be a success. Humanity can be, and at least I'm convinced it can be a success, but we are a failure. And that's because zero wisdom, lots of knowledge, lots of data. We've got lots of information stored up here in our craniums, just no wisdom. So today's video is about me picking a fight with two people, Jordan Peterson and Brandon Tatum. I'm going to start with Officer Tatum. I think he's got a website. He's got multiple platforms on the internet. He's a personality. He's on the political right, supports Trump, and which I have no problem with, either one of those things. And his name's Officer Brandon Tatum. I think it's officertatum.com, and of course, officertatumreport.com. Maybe that's it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. What matters is his name is Officer Brandon Tatum. College athlete. Later on, he's a police officer. Now he's a YouTube personality, and I'm picking a fight with him. Now, why? Because recently he said something which really upset me. He said, because he was analyzing current events, he was studying recent history, he was commenting on it, and he said he got really frustrated with all the corruption, the evil in the world, specifically in the USA. And he says, he throws up his hands, he says, well, I'm just going to leave this in God's hands. Oh boy, I got upset. I wanted to reach to the internet, grab him by the neck, and throw him into the next universe. Well, you better watch out. Officer Tatum's a badass. I'm righteousness incarnate. I am right here. I'll say it like that. I'm righteousness incarnate. Well, that kind of sounds like Batman. Anyway, the point is, I'm not afraid of human beings. I know what we are. We're a failed experiment. We're not that impressive. No one is that impressive. I love Lincoln, Martin Luther King, and Gandhi. Still not impressive. Not on a galactic scale. Not on a universal scale. Anyway, to get back to the story, he said, I'm going to leave the problems in God, as if God's going to swoop down and fix all the problems for him. So here's my response to Officer Brandon Tatum. You ever heard of Apollo 13? 1970, three astronauts in a spaceship heading towards the moon. Service module, command module, lunar module. All of a sudden, catastrophic systems failure. I think an oxygen tank explodes inside the service module. Anyway, that doesn't matter. So you've got Jim Lovell, the commander of the mission. You've got, was it Swigert? Hold on, now I got to go check the names. I hate this. Okay, so it's Fred Hayes, Jack Swigert, and Jim Lovell. And these are the three astronauts, highly educated men, men who are used to working the problem, solving problems. These are problem solving men. These are strong men. These are leaders. These are the guys picked to be the first astronauts, or not the first, but picked to be among the first astronauts to land on the moon. And so now they've got a systems failure that exceeds what they were trained for. Even in the worst case scenario that NASA could throw at them in the training scenarios, this is worse than that. So what Jim Lovell could have said was he could have turned to Fred and Jack and said, you know what, we're just going to leave this in God's hands. Really? So what if Jim Lovell had done that and the other two astronauts had said, yeah, I think that makes sense. If they had done that, all three men, they'd be dead now. They had to work the problem. They had to solve the problem. They had to get off their lazy ass. Well, actually, those men were not lazy. But if they had a lazy ass, they would have had to get off of it. And the point is, they had to solve a catastrophic problem. They were going to die in space because their life support systems were going to fail. And without life support systems on this spaceship, you die. Anyway, so they didn't leave their problems in the hands of God. God wasn't going to swoop in and save those three astronauts. They had to save themselves. Now, they were working in conjunction with ground control, thousands of men and women, part of NASA, all working together to save three men. And it worked. They survived. Their spaceship flew up to the moon, was catapulted in an orbit. They went into a trajectory around the moon, used the moon's gravity to sling them back towards the Earth, and somehow, and against all odds, they made it. The point is, they didn't leave their problems in God's hands. And I'm really pissed off at Brandon Tatum for saying that. You know why? Because Tatum is stronger than that. You know what? Also, Officer Brandon Tatum has heard this sentence before. all it takes for the triumph of evil is that good men do nothing. Well, when you leave the problems for the human race in the hands of God, guess what? You did nothing. What about in World War II when there was Italy, Germany, and Japan were trying to take over the whole planet? Should good, decent people said, well, you know what? We're going to leave it in God's hands to save us from Hitler, Mussolini, and Hirohito or Tojo. No, they didn't. They didn't say they didn't do that. They got up off their butts and they went and they fought a world war and they tried to set humanity on a trajectory towards a better future. So, Officer Tatum, this is me talking directly to you. And by the way, if you're like, well, you know what? Are you so tough? I will happily debate Officer Tatum anytime he wants. And if he wants more than that, you better believe I'm up for. There's nothing I'm not up for. Let's get this straight. I'm picking a fight with 8 billion people. If Officer Tatum is in the mood to pick a fight with 8 billion people, he can tell me that. So, and the fight is for the soul of the human race. And well, I thought you don't believe in God. I do believe there is a supernatural, there is a intangible part of the human race, and that part of it, I'm going to call it the soul. Now, so that's my fight with Brandon Tatum. Now, I also fight with Jordan Peterson, and this fight, I don't know, this fight may be nastier than the one with Tatum. Jordan Peterson said, and it said in several interviews, you know what? The right and the left need each other. No. No, the left is evil. Now, I think he said liberals. He said conservatives and liberals. Problem is, conservatives are liberals. By the definition of classical liberalism, conservatives and classical liberals are the same thing. They're synonyms. He has decided the political left are liberals. No, you're wrong, Jordan. The left on this planet, Democrats, they're not liberals. They are leftists, and leftists are evil. And he's like, well, you know what? We need each other. No. Jordan Peterson, that is stupid. Why would righteousness need evil? Righteousness is the reason righteousness exists. Well, we're not all righteous. Okay, goodness. Why does goodness need badness? Like to juxtapose itself so it knows it actually exists? No, you're wrong. Jordan Peterson is with. I can almost forgive Officer Brandon Tatum. I can understand the level of frustration that Brandon Tatum's going through. I get it. So I can have some empathy for Tatum. I have no empathy for Peterson. I am really pissed at Peterson when he says, because what he's saying is, well, you know what? We need to keep evil alive. No. We need to fight and vanquish evil. We need to either lock it up in a cage or shoot it out into space into another galaxy or exterminate it. But evil has to go away, Jordan. So when he says, because apparently he thinks that there's something good about the political left. There isn't. It's like, well, we need their ideals and their idealism and their quest for utopia and blah blah. I don't know what he's thinking. But I will happily debate Tatum, and like I said, I've got more in common with Tatum. When Tatum and I debate each other, we'll eventually come to a meeting of the minds. I am really pissed off because Jordan Peterson should know better than to say, well, the left and the right need each other. No, they don't. No, first of all, the left has no intention of sharing power with the right. But also, and as I've characterized in the past, the way we break it down into left and right political spectrums, what it is rationals versus irrationals. The left is hyper irrational. And the right also has a problem with being irrational, but at least it has respect for rational thinking, reason, rationalism, logic, mathematics. The right at least recognizes the virtue in logic. The left hates, is psychotically violent towards the idea of logic and rationality and reason. There's nothing that makes the left more apoplectic than the thought of a species or a planet ruled by logic, or a species governed by its rational side, because they're hyper rational. They are little screwed up, mentally defective children. And the idea that they have something to give to us, something to teach us, something to help us exist as a species, no. So the two men I'm looking for a fight with is Brandon Tatum and Jordan Peterson. Like I said, here's what, you know what hurts? What makes me really mad about these two men is I like these guys. These are two men that I do have a lot of respect for. These are two men who are intelligent men. And yet one of them says, well, we're just going to turn it over to God. Really? Tell me the last time the human race turned its problems over to God and God fixed them. Well, you think Moses? Okay. Well, God's been on a fishing trip or a golfing outing since then. So no, and again, that didn't, and Moses didn't fix humanity's problems. I hate to break the news, neither did Jesus Christ. And no one, no, Buddha hasn't fixed them, Muhammad, and no one's coming to fix human. You can't turn your problems over to someone else. You've got to be the hero of your own existence. No one's coming to save the day. You've got to save yourself. And so I'm pissed off at Jordan Peterson and Brandon Tatum and Jordan and what Jordan Peterson said was well, I don't want to say unforgivable because I'm probably going to have to forgive him at some point. But it's I don't know. It borders on unforgivable when he says, "Well, you know what?" Because you know why? Because he has such low opinion of the political right. He doesn't, and does he exist in the political right? I don't know. I mean, it's hard to pigeonhole. But even if he's a centrist, this idea that the left needs to be a part of humanity's future, no, the political left is mental illness. Humanity already has what is known as irrational fear, but the left takes that and ramps it up a billion times worse than just normal mental illness. I've said all human beings are born with irrational fear. That's low-level mental illness. What the left is high-level hyper-violent mental illness. It has to go. The Democrats have to be gone. They all have to leave. Everyone on the left has to be separated and removed from the human experiment. And what is the human experiment? It's Homo sapiens. It's evolution. It's us evolving into a species that has a little bit of wisdom. We don't have a little bit of wisdom. We have, last time I checked, zero. So, and we're not going to get there dragging the left with us. The left is a boat anchor that takes you to the bottom of the ocean and you all die. So, no. Anyway, that was today's video. And all my videos are a big fight with the right. Sometimes I name names. Today, two names today. But yeah, I'm always in a fight with the right because the right is, I even hate to say the political right, the rationals. And they're a tiny, and I get it, they're a tiny minority. People who are rational are a tiny minority. But the rationals, and most of them exist on the right, a few of them are in the center, none of them are on the left. So I'll break that down to you. Most of the rationals are defined by being on the political right. At least they identify with being on the political right. Some in the center are rationals, good people. Keep them in the boat as humanity travels into the future. The people on the left, no rationals. They're all irrational, little, dangerous children. And you have to get rid of all of them. If you want to put them on a spaceship and send them to another planet, fine. If you want to put them on an island somewhere in the Pacific, make them all live there, fine. But no, there is no getting along with evil, because that's what the political left is. It's evil. Anyway, that was today's video. Hope it cheered you up. Anyway, take care and keep up the good fight. Bye-bye.